Okay, so this is a proof of concept. That's what it is. This is not a production piece of software. It is running live on the internet at insuremycar.biotasphere.com. Anybody can reach it right now. And it's a website that we've built that is tied to a vehicle in real time, and not some toy vehicle, not some vehicle that will appear 5 or 10 years from now. It's actually to my car. It's 2 years old, and we'll be getting to that in just a moment. Now, we're taking advantage of the fact that the vehicle has an open API that is used by a variety of apps to monitor information like its location and its speed. Oh, they're calling me from the car. Hello? We'll get to them in a second, but that's the car calling. So, so basically, the car is able to talk to a public API. It's a Tesla Model X, and the data all gets sucked down by Tesla, and then we're not quite sure what happens with it, but Tesla is doing the same thing as many other car manufacturers, and almost every car rolling off a production line today or tomorrow is going to be connected to the internet at all times, and all the manufacturers are going to be collecting their own data, and all the insurance companies want that data, and nobody wants to share. So we're just showing you an idea of what's possible. So to log in, the user, and this is the user, the only person who has access to this data is the user, needs a vehicle ID and an authentication key to access the information. It's important to understand that throughout this, for the proof of concept, no information about the individual person who is driving the vehicle is actually needed, stored, or retained in any way, shape, or form. And in fact, much of the data that we're relying on here isn't even related to the individual car. All right, so let's just log in to the system. And this is what we've built. All right, so you'll see at the moment, there's the car. Based on my login up at the top, it actually builds a real-time picture of the car with all the model options and the wheels and everything else. You'll see the VIN is up there. The car is currently in park. I call my vehicle Tessie, and the last time it made a payment was at about 11:36, and it's currently covered by insurance. You can see where the car is located, and it's parked. And because it's parked, its speed is 0, and it's being covered by our best insurance provider called Standby Insurance. Let's just switch to the insurance over here, because the big thing to understand here is we're not insuring the individual. This is not about who you are, it's about how the car is being driven moment to moment. All right? A car parked in a parking lot provides a lot less risk to an insurance company than a car doing 100 kilometers an hour on a road with the speed limit of 40. So the idea here is that in our proof of concept, we have 3 available offers. They're not 3 different insurance companies. They may be all from the same insurance company, or they may be hundreds of offers from different insurance companies, each willing to offer different rates for different types of driving and different kinds of risk. So standby insurance offers a really low rate when your car is parked. You're on vacation, you're not in the country for a month, you wouldn't want to pay a lot of money. It's like not paying to use the phone if you're not in the country. Now, when the car comes out of park, the rates go right up. We give the discount for a parked car from a relatively high rate when the car comes out, because we can't guarantee that for this particular car any of the other offers will be available. So there always has to be some form of coverage. But we have Tortoise Insurance, which offers the best rates as long as you're staying at a fairly slow rate. If you speed with Tortoise, the penalties are really, really high, and the car may well select another provider. And in a nod to our friend Elon, who we really hope is watching today, we have the BF Rocket insurance, I hope some of you get that joke, where you can drive as fast as you want with no penalties. You will pay a lot more for the insurance, but models in which you pay people to drive really well really don't account for the fact that as human beings, there are times when you want to put your foot down, and there are times that you want to drive well, and the carrot and stick approach generally lasts for about 30 days, and then people forget they're being watched, and they drive like they always have. So what we're trying to do is say, drive it the way you want, and just like when you put your foot down on the pedal of a regular car and you're willing to pay more in gas, why wouldn't you be willing to pay more for insurance in that period where you're driving recklessly or fast? So let's go back to the vehicle usage, and we'll see if, Carl, are you there?
The important thing to note here is that all of the insurance coverage is paid for with IOTA. The car has its own IOTA smart wallet, and it's preloaded with IOTA, right? And every time we collect the data and send it up to the Tangle, there is an insurance policy that is purchased.
Okay, so we have Carl in the car up at this location. Are you taking good care of my baby there, Carl?
As well as you asked me to, Terry.
Okay, so apparently he doesn't want to give it back. All right, so you'll see that the car is in park, and that it's been in park for some time now, and he's paying a really low cost per minute. Now, again, it's the car that's going to make the decisions and will dynamically select which is the best policy. Honesty is usually the best policy, but which is the best policy from moment to moment, meter to meter, in real time as the car is being driven. So what I'd like you to do is notice that standby insurance is running over here. And Carl, I'm going to ask you if you can put the car into drive. As you do, watch up at the top where the car is, that it will go from park to drive. Let's just see if he does that. There we go. So he's now in drive. And notice the moment he did that, the car said, the car is no longer parked. And in a non-parked situation, the best insurance provider is Tortoise Insurance. He's still not moving, but you'll notice that the cost suddenly jumped up, even though the speed has not moved. Can you put the car in reverse for me a second? There we go. It doesn't change anything. Put it back into park. There we go. We're still paying Tortoise Insurance because in this particular time segment, you're paying based on the best offer for everything that you've done in that time segment. So let's go back into drive, Carl. All right. By the way, this panel works perfectly on the display inside the Tesla as well. All right, so we're now in drive, but he's not moving, and so I'd love you to just start driving just a little, and as he does, you'll see the car will start to move, and the current speed will pick up. There he goes. So as he starts to move and we get the speed picking up, he's going to start paying, or not he, the car will start paying for insurance, and the insurance is a function both of speed and time. Now, when he goes above 30 kilometers per hour, you will see that suddenly Tortoise Insurance has a penalty, and there's now a special condition so that you're paying 30% more. But we're still with Tortoise. He's coming down to the lights. And you'll see on the arrow there that the location is being updated in real time. So in just a moment, he's going to turn right, get onto the highway, where, against all my better judgments, we're going to invite Carl to put his foot down and see what this baby will do. traffic permitting. All right. Notice when the special conditions kicked in, the cost per minute rose, and you can see the speed, so you can actually see harsh acceleration, harsh braking, those kinds of things. And here he goes. When he goes above 60 kilometers, his top speed is currently 37, 47. Here we go. Oh my God, I don't think I can bear to look. All right. It gets worse? Okay. So now he's gone above 60. We're now on the BFR insurance plan for this particular time segment. All right. Okay, go for it. Okay. And you'll see that the cost is rocketing, quite literally. Okay, enough of that. All right. So at this point, I think we lost that. We lost the signal, although we have the sound.
He's going too fast.
It's going too fast. Yeah, we're just reconnecting to the video feed there. But I'm going to let Carl go at this point. Not from the company, just from the video stream. All right. So we're now on BFR rocket insurance. We're paying penalties for ludicrous speed over here. Can we flip back to the? Oh, there he's still on the. He's going to take off for the weekend, I can tell. Anyway, so we're getting all this information, and at the end of each period, based on what's happening, all of this data that's been collected, all of the information that's needed for the insurance, will be written to the IOTA tangle as an immutable record. Now, today, data is collected, and insurance companies want to keep the insurance inside their silo. The car companies want to keep the data inside their silo. But it's important to understand that every single car that's out on the road today could start using this technology tomorrow if either the manufacturers actually included this technology at the point of manufacturing, or aftermarket providers wanted to do this. But in the demonstration that we've done so far, none of this actually knows anything about the user. Now, we could always add information about the user with our palm vein scanners, but again, is it important to know who the user is, or simply know that the user is licensed to drive in the jurisdiction in which the car is placed, that the user has a driving history with no claims, but we still don't need to know necessarily how much the driver weighs or various other things. And based on the amount of information that an individual is willing to share as part of this program, they may receive additional discounts. But it's the car that makes the decision, it's the car that's choosing the best deal, and it's the consumer who gets the best rate. It's the insurance company who now gets all of the data that they need as part of a collaborative lake to allow better decisions, more informed decisions about where real risk is that are arriving in real time. All right? So
why don't we check out one of the transactions actually to see how it actually exists on the IOTA tangle?
Sure. Okay. Can we get rid of Carl? I keep trying to get rid of him, but he doesn't seem to want to go away. So all of this data is stored on the tangle, encrypted, immutable. Nobody can ever change it. I don't know if anybody saw, but just today in the BBC, it was announced that Uber paid, I think it was $147 million for a data breach that they tried to cover up. We've seen many situations at the government levels, in large corporations, who have all said at various times, with the greatest of integrity, trust us with your data, it's safe with us, and then it hasn't been. This data is stored, it's encrypted, it's immutable. Nobody can go in afterwards and change it. You're not relying on the company to provide the data and never being sure whether the data they're providing is actually in its original state or not.
Ultimately, it puts the control actually back with the end consumer, because even when you pass on your data to the insurance broker, you will know exactly what data you're passing on to them. And there are solutions designed to help take care of privacy and security.
Yeah, cool. All right. So if we just go back to this over here, you can see that we've had, in the time that we've been talking, several payments. There's one here that was with standby. This particular one was done with BF Rocket. And you can see that the data is being written in real time. And there are lots of things that could be done to modify this model. Today we've kept it very, very simple. We have, speed, but there's lots of other data that could inform the decisions about how the car buys its insurance. For example, somebody traveling 100 kilometers an hour on the 401 on a sunny day when the rest of the traffic is doing 100 represents an entirely different risk than the same driver in the same car doing 100 kilometers an hour in the middle of a snowstorm in winter at nighttime when the rest of the traffic on the highway is doing 40. Today's models simply cannot account for that. But there are all kinds of things that we can do, hard braking, hard acceleration, and basically, if you choose to identify yourself, what it is that you choose to identify with, and how much information you're willing to provide. But again, it's just an attestation that your identity confirms that you have those attributes. It doesn't necessarily have to reveal who the person is. All right, we can talk about that more later if you want.
The important thing to note here is that a multitude of new data features can be engineered from the oceans of data being generated by the cars, right? So risk will be sliced up and allocated dynamically into all sorts of new insurance products that can be bought on a real-time basis based on what conditions or risk context your vehicle is actually in.